At home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez.
From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing ass says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Well, hey, everybody, it's Monday. Sorry for that moment of silence. You know, every once in a while, I like to give you just a few seconds with your thoughts and just a little meditation and reminding you to hydrate, all the things that we talk about. I don't even know where to start because, there's a lot to cover. Ultimately, we now know at least 3 service members have been killed over the weekend, with at least another missing. We have casualties, and more than 50 people are being reported as dead in Tehran as we continue. A ceasefire, I guess, was the agreement. I'm having I know that I don't always have the best handle on international foreign policy. I understand that there might be things way beyond my pay grade or training, my education. I don't know. A ceasefire seems like it would be when you cease firing, when you don't fire things. And also, I believe on multiple occasions in recent memory, we were told that the entire military was decimated. The American forces had destroyed all capabilities for Iran to launch missiles or attack our bases. And if you've seen any images, there are images that soldiers are getting through to show you the devastation, the destruction of the attacks on their bases. And I posted a video yesterday because, Trump was asked about, Iran was like, this basically saying that Trump is worthless, that he's not a man about his word, that they will, when Trump says, because here's the thing, folks, like it or not, and most of us don't, that's quantifiably true. Most of us don't like what he says. You can miss me with your BS about how more Americans voted for Trump than ever in history. That doesn't mean that all Americans. It doesn't. The number of people who voted for this man, whether or not there was something else going on there, maybe time will tell. And I'm not interested in that part. But no, quantifiably, Americans don't want to hear. From the very beginning, those of you who are still in lockstep, who are just slurping up the boot polish by the gallons. He said when he started this war that soldiers were going to die, essentially prepping, saying, already having calculated it, like he was some sort of insurance auditor, like this is the cost of doing this and we can afford it, was basically how he laid it out for us. And, there was never, way, and he did that, by the way, if you recall. If I'm correct, I might be mistaken, but I remember waking up to it, that it was late at night from his golf course, from his property in Mar-a-Lago, with a stupid baseball hat on. And the next day, while these attacks were going on, while we were bombing, and we did, also verifiable, that we did bomb a girls' school and slaughtered children in their classrooms. But I shouldn't expect MAGA to care about that, because you certainly didn't care in Uvalde or at Sandy Hook. So I don't even know why I bother bringing that up. And those are just the 2 big ones, right? We're not talking about the daily bloodshed in our streets from gunfire. And yeah, in every community, you can point at Chicago and New York and all those other places as much as you want, but we know that the gun violence rate is higher across the country in red states. So miss me again with that. At any rate, he told us that it was going to be the cost of doing this. But the cost of what? He said it was to make sure that they never had nuclear arms. Only last summer, he said that they had no abilities to develop nuclear weapons, even had a public argument with Tulsi Gabbard when she said that they do have capabilities. And then, by the way, just so you know, over the weekend, her brother was arrested for luring children to his hotel room with candy. These are garbage people. I was listening to Tom Hartman's show today in between the AI music, and I was thinking about the one of the callers that came in and said that it was a black man who called in, because I didn't hear the MAGA caller who said, all these things about saving his money and that's why he voted for Trump. And I know a lot of people said that, because there wasn't going to be tax on overtime, there wasn't going to be tax on tips, which we know is also a lie. And by the way, a lot of the things that people thought they were going to benefit from are expiring in 2 years, and yet the tax cuts, the benefits of the billionaires are set to never expire. And that's the thing I've also thought, what is never, what kind of stone is this carved in? So that has to be fixed. At any rate, after this MAGA caller joined the conversation, a black man called in and said that voter was hateful, that he had hatred in his heart. And Tom was like, oh, but I don't want to go. I don't want to lump him in with the goose steppers and the Nazi salute shooters and all that stuff. And I get that, Tom, and I know I shouldn't be arguing with Tom Hartman during my show. And I get it because Tom, comes from a very level. He wants to be very measured. Here's the thing, and Tom admitted it. He admitted that he doesn't have the same experience as a black man in this country. So, give people space, people of color, black men and women, Native Americans. Don't even get me started on a woman in the Southwest who was apprehended and kidnapped by ICE on her way to chemotherapy. There's so many things happening so quickly that I have to grab at them while I'm on the air with you. At any rate, yeah, I'm sorry. No, not sorry. Excuse me, but people who vote for their own interests, knowing that it's going to harm Latinos in our community, black people in our community, women, yeah, it may just be, Tom was like, well, no, selfishness, I'm sorry, is a form of hatred. It means you love yourself above all else. And when you do something that harms somebody else, it comes at their expense. It's because maybe I'm wrong. And that's always something I'm willing to claim. I'm willing to admit to. And I know I've talked to, and I get it that we have, leaving MAGA, and God bless you guys. Not my job to, like, this whole thing about, well, Democrats need to be, liberals need to be more welcoming and open arms. So let somebody else do that. I have work to do. What is in my water? No, you know what? Because people keep dying, and I know that people keep dying. I know that it's always happening. There are always going to be evil people, and evil is such a cop-out to we let them get away with it, just so you know. Evil is bad things that people do and taking no stock of how we got there. Okay. Let me be very clear, because I get a lot of, again, it's been coming up in my feed. I hope that an immigrant doesn't kill or rape somebody in your family. I hope you're not raped by an immigrant, right? I've gotten that again in the last few days. Because of the killings, because of the murders of two fathers in the course of a week. And people ask me, what difference does it have? What difference does it make if they're fathers? Because we're trying to get something through to the lead-hearted people who are like, don't care. If they fit a certain criteria, we're hoping that maybe if we say they're dads, that there are children, that there are people in their lives that they love. It's kind of like in Silence of the Lambs, when you have to humanize the woman in the well. We're in the well. We're just trying to humanize the person that is begging to survive. So yes, I've been getting people saying, "I hope you never get raped. I hope someone you love is never killed by an immigrant." So let me just get this. I just want to make sure we're clear on this. The fact that I was raped by white men. That's a free pass. Well, at least they were white. And the other thing is, since my brother was raped and murdered, and by a white male American citizen, that somehow, well, thank God, at least he was white. He belonged here, so he definitely should have done that to more than 33 young boys and men. I just want to make sure I'm clear on the parameters of where MAGA's empathy begins. It's their Christianity, their ability to comprehend what people go through. And so, anyway, the thing I want to go through here is that people often ascribe evil to John Wayne Gacy, who murdered my brother. I would go back, and the thing is that I have done some of the work, which is painful and horrible. My brother, Michael Bonin, if you want to go into it, was raped and murdered, was abducted by John Wayne Gacy. And I until I was, until I was in my late 40s, there was very little I knew about the specifics of what happened. I knew some of the headlines, I knew some of the things. I had somebody, I don't know what words I can use on the air, but I had somebody when I was 10 years old, a child in my neighborhood, stopped me in an alley because everyone in the neighborhood knew about my brother. And at the time, in the late 1970s, everyone was talking about this homosexual murder. So certainly all the boys who were killed had to be homosexuals. And that's another conversation. But someone called my brother a slur, basically saying at 10, 11, or 12 years old, this kid on his handlebars, his stupid banana seat hand, like the big, long, like, the whatever that was, the high scooped, I don't even know what we call this handlebar, because I can see it in my mind, asked me if my brother was this homophobic slur. And I just remember, I didn't even, and that wasn't the only I had that happen a little over 10 years ago from one of his attorneys who asked me if my brother was gay. The attorneys in the case who worked for Gacy, which is such a weird friendship that I developed. And anyway, Karen Conti asked me if my brother was gay. Nobody ever asked me that. I don't even know for her context, I'll never know. But having had to learn more and gotten more information about it, the way in which the way Gacy was treated by his family and his community, because he was, for what we can tell, gay, that his father beat him because he was feminine, threw him down the stairs and would lock him in the basement. The culture in which he was in, there was one man who survived. And I'll never forget this. One man survived. He was at a gay bar. Gacy was flirting with him. And all this guy remembers is that he woke up in the floor well of the car, could see some of the highway signs, and then was waking up while he was being assaulted, attacked. And when he woke up, when he was conscious, would say, "You don't have to do this. God loves you anyway." And I don't know if that was what needed to be said to Gacy. I don't know. But that man survived because Gacy left him on a park bench. So to me, that's someone, like when we say evil, Gacy had severe mental health issues. I am not at a place to tell you that evil killed my brother, because that lets us all off the hook. Murdering people lets us all off the hook. The person, the community, the society, bombing other countries and saying we're doing it because they are evil distances us. Someone wrote, by the way, someone wrote on my wall today a whole diatribe and said that I hope that satin leaves your heart. They meant to write something else, but satin made me laugh. And I was like, satin pillowcases are really good. This is who I am, folks, in case you're wondering. I will bare my soul to you. And I am against the death penalty because a lot of people use my brother's murderer as a reason as to why we should have the death penalty. And I will tell you right now, I know that there are other family members, my own family members, who would disagree with me. And that is their right. That's everyone's right to have a disagreement on this. My point of view is that it did nothing to make my father's life better, because at the very end, what my father wanted was to hear Gacy say, "I'm sorry," to have some sort of regret, to be afraid to die. That was what he wanted in those last seconds. And because he didn't get it, because the murderer just and then what? My father drank harder, he smoked harder, he gambled harder, because he didn't have any peace, and he didn't have the sort of support that people need through that kind of trauma. And we are all going through trauma as we as a country are participating in the slaughter of people around the world, including our own service members, knowing that we are sending them off for people who are selfish, who do not care about men and women, not just Trump, his enablers, the people who are benefiting from this, from the military defense contracts. He even said he's making more money the longer this war goes on. His sons sit on boards of drone companies, of military weapons companies, making money off of this. So no, I'm not going to, if I ever say they're evil, it's a slip of tongue, because evil doesn't cover everyone's culpability in this. You're saying that something mystical is happening. Nah, these are horrible, selfish, ignorant, dumb, and dangerous people. I should probably take a break. I'm not going to say the sponsors here because that was a lot. More in a moment on WCPT 820. Did I swear? I probably should have listened. All right, more after this.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Hey, everybody! How are you doing? What is life like for you today? What is here? Let's just do this. Let's do a little. Everybody, just take a deep inhale. Just 2, 3, 4, and exhale. 2, 3, 4. That's more for me. I think everybody knows that's more for me. I'm fine. At any rate, I hope that you're following me on social media so you can see some of the horrible things. No, don't go there to see the horrible things that people say about me. The other thing that I wrote about today, or I made a video about today, there's a reason I came in hot. It's not just the loss of life in other parts of the world, because this dementia Donnie made just catastrophic choices. The other thing is that I haven't really been able to wrap my arms around and understand more thoroughly. And I also hesitate, Lady B, because it affects us directly. There is something called there was a case that was decided by the Supreme Court that essentially, it's under the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act. And the initiative, the policy, the legislation, all of the things there are to make things accessible. Also, to take measures to support people who need services to be able to stay in their homes, to not be institutionalized. Because before the Olmstead Act, before Olmstead, it was basically just institutionalizing people without the support, and all the horrible things that you see. I'm going to be more clumsy on this one, because it's so immediate and pertinent to my son Declan's rest of his life care. There have been, in the last decade, several investigative journalism pieces, whether it's by the Tribune and other outlets, discovering horrific abuse within our institutions in the state of Illinois, where there have been individuals, people who are strapped to their beds and left in their fecal matter for days, beaten for asking for too many treats, raped. There's one woman who is cognitively a toddler, and she became pregnant while in the care of one of the institutions. So you're going to have to excuse me if I'm also extremely angry about the fact that the DOJ announced, and it becomes enforceable, not enforceable, but goes in action today, where they will no longer require compliance with the Olmstead Act. And that is something that will, if people decide that, well, it's not worth, we're going to rescind the funding, the states are going to decide that it's not worth it to provide the funding. So let me be very clear, because I'm going to track this. This is something I have to investigate. Just in your mind right now, do you think it is more cost effective? What do you think here? Let me put it this way. And this is for my MAGA listeners, my conservative listeners, my hate listeners. Just in your mind right now, what do you think costs taxpayers more to provide care and support for a person to live in their homes, stay in their community, be with their families and loved ones, or to institutionalize them? I just want to know, what do you think is more cost effective? Just think about the costs, like, someone being able to pay for, like, help pay for rent, for their groceries, for doctor's appointments, for getting to the doctor's appointments, for all the things, for the support services, for someone to change someone's diapers, for someone to take them to physical therapy. Just in your mind right now, what do you think costs more? And if you had a number to put on that, because it's not inexpensive, I will be honest with you, it is not. Having raised a beautiful boy for 20 years, I will tell you, not just the financial heaviness of it, the emotional heaviness of it, the physical heaviness of it. I mean, my husband and I are not getting any younger. So what do you think it costs more? Do you think it's number one or number two? Staying at home costs more, or institutionalizing them costs more? By almost $40,000, it costs more to institutionalize our kids. It costs about $17,000. I'm not doing the math right. Yeah, $40,000. Yeah, so let's say $38,000 more. It costs $17,000 for supports and services to help Lady B and families like mine to make sure that our kids have everything they need, the supports, the services, the ability, housing, all of that costs $17,000 a year. It costs $54,000 a year to institutionalize them. So I have to imagine that the reason there is this rush to institutionalize our kids, our family members, our loved ones, is because someone is going to make a profit off of more beds in more institutions. Please convince me of otherwise. Convince me of the reason that we should put on taxpayers an additional $37,000 a year. Please help me with the math if you are hate listening, because right there is the issue. I would love for you to explain to me why the Department of Justice now says that they will not enforce Olmstead. Okay. Hey, Jim, what's on your mind, my friend?
Hi, Patty. First of all, let's think about it. There's a trend that you want to stay in your own domicile. That's even in death with hospice. When hospice first came out, they used to have it like in a wing of a hospital. And the first hospice I had an aunt, a great aunt in there. She was a lovely person. And it was so lovely. They had a bar, they had a priest outside and so on. I thought, well, I might just stay here and die myself. The point is they try to send people home because it's easier to die at home, and it's easier for a disabled person to be at home because whoever loves them is going to be around them. And when they go to an institution, Patty, there's no guarantee that anybody has any great regard for your suffering. And the other thing is, Patty, this is why I called. It's a 50-50 chance in America to run into any American who's got a sixth grade level, reads on a sixth grade level. So that means that every other person you run into has a comprehension of a sixth grader or lower. And that's throughout the whole United States. So the point is, nobody should be institutionalized. Nobody.
No.
Because they're just too cruel. They proved it over and over again. But another thing. How about these two? This is really a strange story because I'm not on the internet or anything. But two brothers are accused of every sexual deviant thing on earth. They've got millions of followers, child pornography, rape. Who are these two guys? Two brothers. You know anything about them?
No, I do not.
Yep. Okay, they've been on the news a couple of days. I thought, my God, and millions of followers. They call them influencers. I'm like, my God,
yep. Yeah, no, and that's what's, I was thinking about that while watching the World Cup yesterday, which is like the blend of the stars that we know, and including the sprinkling of the Muppets. But also there was one performer who is only social media famous, like not what you would traditionally know from any like radio, television, like social media famous. So yeah, being a social influencer and having, there are people who have 5 million, 10 million. Joe Rogan, aside from the fact that he was on a sitcom and a reality series and did stand-up comedy, he is entirely a social media influencer at this point. It has nothing to do with his career in television, just the conversations that he's had and the opinions that he shares because he's a stoner bro.
Yeah, but these guys, apparently these two guys are supposed to be macho men too. But
the Tate brothers, yeah. I don't understand.
Who are they? I don't care who they are, but they're accused of every kind of horrible crime you can think of. But what this is a symptom of people not comprehending the situation. Trump argued, didn't he? I like the uneducated because he's uneducated, obviously, and the people that vote for him are uneducated. The ones that are taking advantage, of course, have money so they can get next to him. But the average citizen in America can't see the forest through the trees because they don't know what the hell they're reading. Or everything's on video. I remember when Biden ran. A gentleman in the Jewel works there. He goes, "Well, look at Biden. I see him on the thing. He's like a puppet up and down." I said, "Where do you see that?" He goes, "Well, it's on the video here." I said, "Don't show it to me." I said, "Well, you don't believe that, do you?" "Oh, that's what it says here. They go up and down." So I'm like, my point is, this guy doesn't know who won the Revolutionary War.
No,
and he's voting.
Hey,
and he's voting.
I remember having someone on my show years ago who was arguing with me that Abraham Lincoln owned slaves, and so it's not even just a younger generation. That was somebody who was like a millennial.
Oh no, it's not. No, it's everybody. No, it's everybody. Anybody when you're reading on a sixth grade level and lower, 1 out of 2 Americans. It's dangerous territory there because.
Yep.
They can't comprehend this. This is just, it's by putting people in institutions. It's just absolutely, that's the last thing on earth. Because the truth is, like, the Cheneys always took, let's say your parents' business. The Cheneys were always revered their parents. They keep their parents no matter what, hell or high water. They keep their parents stashed somewhere and do the best they could with them. And that was the same with the Irish. Nobody went into an institution in my family. And the point is, if you've got a living relative or somebody who loves you, stick with them. Stick with them because they know you and they love you, and nobody else knows you and loves you like they know and love you. Anyway, Patty, you're right on target today. I'm sorry you're going through it. But you got a radio show. You got a radio show. You got to look at these. You got to look at these comments from.
Yeah. All right.
But my God, I would go absolutely. I'd jump out the window if I had to look at that stuff. Anyway, Patty, thanks a million. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's get a Nancy. Hey, Nancy, what's on your mind, Nancy?
Hey, Patty. Well, first of all, real quick, I apologize for the last time I called in. You probably won't even remember, but I felt like an idiot at once. I hung up and I realized, I never got to my point. Anyway, I want to thank you. I want to thank you. You are one of 2 people I listen to now. I used to have WCPT on all day, and then in the evening I would watch MSNBC, which is what it was at that time. Now I watch Lawrence O'Donnell. I love that man. He knows all there is to know about Congress. And I listen to you. I listen to other people on WCPT, but not like I used to. I'm telling you, we are losing, and we are losing because of all these wimpy people who don't want to fight back. Democrats still have not learned how to fight back. The Democratic Party is not unified. We have the moderate Democrats fighting the progressives rather than turning around and fighting the cons who are destroying us. The cons are a criminally insane cult, and no one's fighting back. Why is it, every day I sit here and I hear, well, why is he doing this? Why are they doing that? Why is this? Because they can, because no one's fighting back. I'm with you, Patty. You're the only one who tells the truth.
I lack impulse control, and I yell. That's all.
Well, believe me, I do my share of yelling. You could probably tell that now. I'm sorry. I should lower my voice.
You're good, Nancy.
I'm just so frustrated and aggravated.
Me too.
And that they can't, no one is stopping them. They are breaking the law every single day. And all these guys do is sit on TV or on the radio and say, well, look at what they're doing. No, look at what, well, where are our so-called representatives? I'm not being represented. No one's fighting for me. They're not fighting hard enough. They don't know how to fight. No, I'm sorry. He's in there twice because they did not know how to take care of him in the first place. When Les Moonves said, how many years ago, when he was running the first time, when the felon was running the first time, and when he said, oh, he may not be good for America, but he's good for us because all they care about is the money, that should have been a red flag right then and there. And they couldn't beat this guy twice, and they're calling him names? Who are the real fools and idiots? It's the people who can't beat this guy. Because I'll tell you right now, if I had that military and that money and that power, I would have had that guy out of here long ago. He would have never made it into our White House in the first place.
Well said, Nancy. Thank you so much for calling in, my friend. I will talk to you again soon. Be well. Stay hydrated. We'll be right back after this on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal. My friends from Source Solar have entered the studio.
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us. We continue our conversation and Driving It Home. Join me in studio right now are sponsors of the show, but also civically minded, politically engaged, fighting for our communities in every ways, which is really like making sure that people feel confident and comfortable in the services that they secure. Warren Preis, he is your car concierge, all things automotive, Hawk Motors, with over 45 years in the automotive industry.
Excuse me.
Yes.
59.
Oh my God, really?
59 years.
Wow, that's a lot of years.
I started when I was 15.
I always average down. It's like my kids can't get older because that means I'm older.
You're not older. You're better.
My kids are 5 and 7.
Oh, okay.
20 and 22.
They'll be 5 and 7 for a long time.
That's right. Warren Preis, you can hear him Sundays right here on Saturdays right here on WCPT. That would mean I was working 7 days a week here.
Believe me, you're working 7 days a week anyway.
It's Saturday mornings from 9 to 10 a.m. And we love getting your calls and texts and helping out listeners. And there's also a walk coming up. It's a run for the parks with Banner Foods.
Oh my God, Banner's Foods, yeah, on September 13th. And we are going to be taking callers again on Saturday. Mm-hmm. And just pay attention.
We'll cover
Patty's actually going to coach me a little bit on how to do some Instagram
Yes, we're going to do some Instagram stuff. And Peter Sarelas, the founder, the chief executive officer, the mastermind behind
the brains,
Source
the man,
Solar.
the myth, the legend.
That's right. All the things. He's in studio with us. He has recently partnered with the Illinois Solar for All program to make sure that you have financing to get solar panels on your house or business. Hey, Peter, there's no microphone in front of you. I probably should have pointed that out all the way to that one right there. He talked and I'm like, why can't I hear him? There's no microphone in front of him. Now, as a sponsor of my show, I want to thank you and apologize. I came in a little hot at the top of the show, so I want to separate you from the.
She was burning, guys.
So I want to take my last couple calls and make sure we let people share their thoughts before we continue our conversations. Hey, what's going on, Steve?
Hello. Well, oh my God, I've got so much to say, so I'm just going to pick up from the last caller, Nancy, and throw out a little something there.
Okay.
I totally get her frustration and anger, but it is only 4 months until the November election. You can't stop at, oh, I'm so frustrated. They don't seem to be doing anything. Ugh.
I know.
They are doing things, but we don't have a majority. So take that anger and frustration, get off your butt, contact your local Democratic office. If you don't have a good one near you, find another one in another county or another state. Start phone banking. Start writing postcards. Start knocking on doors.
I will say this.
We are the ones that need to make the change.
My sense of Nancy is that she has been at this for a long time. And so when we say
I just turned 60.
I understand. I understand. So there are people who burn out. And so I'm just I'm trying to meet people where they are and lure them, coax them
I get it.
where we need to be.
Yes. But I also, again, being 60, I see what it's like when all I hear is, well, it sucks and nobody's doing anything. And then everybody goes, okay, well, I guess you're right. Well, we're just going to accept it.
Yes.
No, you've got to get off your butt and you got to do something. And if you need to take some time off, take some time off. But don't turn everything into a moan fest then, because you're just spiriting other people who really need to work.
Gotcha. Appreciated and duly noted and agreed.
All right, have a great night, babe.
Oh, thank you. He did get to it. Let's get to one more. Let's get to Roosevelt. Roosevelt, I've got my guest in the studio. Do you want to hang out for another till after 6, or do you have something quick?
I just got something quick.
Okay.
You know what's bad about this is the fact that all these guys are getting rich. Like those 3 Cuban-American knuckleheads. It ain't just one Cuban-American, meaning Rubio. All these guys are getting rich because they know they get the information from Trump, and they're just, placing their bets like a casino. To be specific, Carlos Jimenez, Maria Elvira Lazar, all those people turn their back on their own people, on their own Cuban community, which got them in there, and been getting them in there for decades. They haven't, there hasn't been a Democrat at all. other than the new mayor that's going to be an Anglo-Saxon American, a Democrat. She's going to be the new mayor of Miami. So so things are changing down there and somewhat.
Yep.
But they're getting richer.
Oh yeah. People, the grift is on. Thank you, Roosevelt. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So, okay, let's. I think we can go local because we are in the Chicago hour right now.
Yeah.
And let's start here. So, Peter came in and asked me if it was okay if we talked about something that was a little bit off topic for us, and it is totally on topic for what I do. So,
Cool.
what's on your mind?
Yeah. So, and I just reran. The bid was up, so it's significantly higher. But I still think a one-time will help, and I'll give everyone a preface here. So everyone knows about our Chicago parking meter fiasco, about how we sold this back in, was it 07?
Something like that. 07, 08. Yeah.
08, something like that, for $1.5 billion, which is, I'm going to say peanuts because it really is. Like
Within less than 2 years, the company who bought, they made it back.
Yep. And to give everyone some context about how much $1.5 billion is compared to the city of Chicago, our CPS budget, I think, is like $9 billion a year. So that is a fraction of our CPS budget that we just, what word can I use here on the radio? Rented out our entire city for the next 75 years for. So what I wanted to bring up is, and then also after that happened, you remember what it used to be? Remember quarter used to get you 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Those old meters?
Now it's 5 minutes, isn't it? What is it?
Less, like 3. It's like $8 an hour if you're downtown. So it went from $1 an hour to $8 an hour. Because I don't think there was anything in that deal that said you can't
they could do whatever they want. And
they had control.
Yep.
And we have to pay them if there are like events, if there's festivals, if there's street fairs.
Correct. And if that street is, down for a week, not even a week, a couple days for a street fest, we have to pay them out as there was a car there every single minute. And then also if you're doing construction, if we have construction,
we pay them.
So
and disability parking. There used to be amnesty for people with placards. You could park in a spot. Now everybody has to pay. I'm just saying.
Yep.
There was at least that.
So there's so much that's involved now. And I'll be honest here. I've probably spent at least $1,000 in parking tickets over the last 10 years because of that. And
easily. I know you.
And at least I have the app, so it tells you now.
Yeah.
And I, just by seeing, how much everything is increased, I know when I go to my app, every time I fill up my car, or not fill up, put money on it, it says, do you want to refill your $20? And I remember when I moved back to Chicago after college back in 2016, if I parked my car, I would get like 4 or 5 times I could park before I had to add money to it. Every time you park now, it's like $12 minimum, $8 minimum.
Yeah.
So right now, if anybody has been following, Johnson submitted a secret bid for $3 billion, which was $800 million over the next highest bid last fall. And this was shut down by a city lawyer because Johnson didn't get the proper approvals, I guess, from
sounds about Chicago.
From other people in the city.
He is the mayor, though.
True, but you would think that you would bring something like that.
Oh, there's layers of bureaucracy and laws.
Someone else wanted to get a piece of the pie.
Yep.
Maybe, I guess, yeah.
So
Chicago.
If
that's what I'm saying. Chicago to Chicago.
Chicago to Chicago. And that was at 2.2 billion then is what the next highest bid was. Let's call it $2.5 billion. On a $2.5 billion bid to buy back our meters. And we have, should I do this by taxpayer or by individual in the city of Chicago?
Well, because individual includes kids.
Correct.
Right. So let's go by taxpayer.
If we did by taxpayer, then I think there's 1.65 million taxpayers in the city. It'd be about $1,500. It's actually $1,515. It's a good number.
How much would it be?
$1,500
per person,
per taxpayer to buy back.
That's way higher than what you told me when you came in.
I know, but I just
it's like way more expensive.
A lot
because we just we double taxpayer
a lot.
Originally, it was
because when you came in,
it was $1 billion.
13 cents, or then to 20.
He's at $20 tops.
Times
yeah.
3
$20
million,
with fees.
It's only $60 million.
Let me get into it.
Yes. Let's get into it.
Yep. If we did a one-time over the course of a year, and the whole city had something like a 90-day free parking. Not saying that $1,500 is going to give you all your investment back for 90-day free parking, but if you did something like that for the city of Chicago, where everyone can invest, or it's similar how at my massage therapist now, when I go to him, he has 3 different tiers depending on how much you can financially submit. If you want to do, $100, $120 or $140, depending on how well off you are at this time, he doesn't feel like he should pressure somebody into paying more than they should. If we had something similar like that, I think this is an option. At least give the option to the people of the city to do something like this and vote on it.
Yeah, put that. I would love to see that on a ballot. Are you willing to pay $1,500?
I would.
To buy back. I know you would. I think it's a heavy lift. I get it. I do. I get it. Let's come back to this conversation because we're going to take a break here and we're going to talk to Indiana's House Minority Leader Phil GiaQuinta when we come back on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KKNW 50 in Seattle. And of course, we want to thank our friends watching digitally and listening on all the platforms. More in a moment. We also have in our studio the geniuses. Well, Peter Sarelas, the genius behind Source Solar. Go to source.solar and find out more information about solar panels on your house or business. And Warren Hawk Motors, Saturday mornings right here on WCPT.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
Detours, no distractions, just bold ideas and real talk. This is Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue our drive home. So thrilled to welcome in studio sponsors of Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez, our friends from Source Solar, Warren Preis, who also hosts Hawk Motors here on Saturday mornings. What's your show now? Hawk Takes the Wheel.
Hawk Takes the Wheel.
Hawk Takes the Wheel, Saturday mornings from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Peter Sarelas, the founder of Source Solar. Go to source.solar, make an appointment with Peter. He'll walk you through the process of getting solar panels on your house, including the financing now available through the partnership with the state of Illinois and Solar for All. On the line with us right now is the Indiana House Minority Leader, Phil GiaQuinta. Am I saying your name correctly, sir?
Yeah, perfect.
Wow. Someone write that down. I got one perfect. I appreciate it. First of all, tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been serving in the Indiana legislature?
Sure. Thanks for having me on today. Yeah, I was first elected back in 2006, and I was elected to leader of the House Democrats after the 2018 election.
So you've been through.
And by the way, I reside in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
I was about to ask. So Fort Wayne, I remember looking at a map when President Obama ran the first time and seeing Indiana go purple, right? Meaning, sure, there were a lot of Republicans elected, but Indiana voted for President Obama. Not just the first time, the second time as well. Is that right?
Not the second time, not in 2012, but in 2008.
That sounds right, because there was so much momentum behind everything. Not Obama. How long have you? Are you a right to work state?
We are. That was passed in 2012. Excuse me.
Right, which is it kind of follows along the lines of people kind of figuring, well, we won. President Obama is in office, and then not paying attention to all the offices down the ballot. So tell us a little bit about the candidates running and the sort of energy that is behind these races under the this heaviness from the federal administration.
I think that's a great question because I'm curious as to you're tying it into the 2008 election, and if you look back even after 2006. When the Democrats regained the majority back into the Indiana House, got the majority back, and then, of course, more momentum going into 2008. And what we saw then in 06 and 08 were folks that were complaining, rightly so, about economic issues. And we're seeing that again this time. And so there's some great parallel there about 20 years later with regards to what is happening from a finance and an economic standpoint for folks. And, because things are just really the affordability issue is real, and people are just finding it things are just costing too much. And there's a variety of reasons for that. But it's something that the Republicans in Indiana have not addressed. They might say they've been working on it and they say they've tried, but they frankly make things worse. And that's why I think we've seen so much enthusiasm going into this election.
What are some of the races that, are we talking about not only in the General Assembly, but some of the other races going on in Indiana where you see a path forward for more Democrats to flip seats?
Yeah, look, we run every 2 years, and there's 100 seats up. And frankly, back in 2021, when the Republicans drew the maps, they gerrymandered the map. So it makes it difficult a lot of times when people look to say, well, yeah, I'll run, I'll put the effort into it. And knowing that it's only a 30% Democrat district, they probably think to themselves, well, why do it? So frankly, for us to have 97 folks running is really something. I've never seen it this high, that many people that are willing to sign up and run. But again, I think it reflects the frustration that's out there. But you're right, we're not the only races in town, so to speak. Certainly at the top of the ticket. It's a little unusual this year because we have no governor or U.S. senator at the top of the ticket. That happens about every 12 years, I believe. And so this year at the top of the ticket, it's Secretary of State. Our nominee is Bo Bai, who's the son of long-term Senator and former Governor Evan Bai. So obviously he has some name recognition there. He's an attorney, Marine, and so he's working extremely hard. And I think he's got a very good chance to win. Specifically, especially, I should say, that the Republicans didn't even renominate their own incumbent Secretary of State to run again because of the scandals that have happened in the Secretary of State's office. And Bo Bai has pledged to clean all that up if he's successful.
See, that's the thing is that like we see this across country in places like Indiana, like Texas, over and over again, where Republicans have been running the table and having been in the General Assembly for 20 years, with that scope now and that perspective of history, like the propaganda machine is aggressive and has taken hold of a lot of people's minds. Is that something that you have noticed, that sort of escalation over the last 20 years?
Well, one of the problems you have too is, again, keep in mind we're in the super minority, and so we can't block legislation. They can meet without us, frankly, and that's what I think gives us hope that this year will be different. What we're seeing in the polls is from just a generic ballot standpoint, and frankly, other people have seen the generic polls that come out nationwide where the Democrats are ahead, and so we're looking to elect at least 4 members so we can break that super minority. And so while we will still just be in the minority, it'll give us a lot more leverage on issues and a lot more say-so when it comes to the writing of legislation and what we want to see in the budget and so on. So that's what we're talking about. And I think, again, that's why I think there's some enthusiasm there on our side.
One of the stories I saw recently was about the defunding of childcare. I mean, just as an example of what, the whole saving taxpayers' money or eliminating fraud and all those things. Is this correct? Over almost 300 childcare facilities have closed in Indiana in the wake of that funding being suspended?
Yeah, in fact, I think it's almost a year ago, this October, that I went and toured a childcare facility in my district. And they were telling me about, because we were talking, I'm like, well, so the young kids here that are going on to kindergarten, first grade, who's coming in behind them? And they're like, well, that's the problem. Folks can't afford it anymore.
Yeah.
And if there's no help from the government, they're not going to go. And so where do they go? Friends, neighbors, grandparents, and honestly, those folks are not trained properly because it's not babysitting. We're talking about explaining colors, blocks, working with numbers, all these things, getting these kids, preparing them for kindergarten, first grade, and so on. And we all know that we need to start training kids earlier in the pre-K space. And so that's not getting done. So what happened, the governor did come back and said, okay, we're going to find some money to do that. But then to tell you the truth, that daycare center that I visited last October, they said we are not going to reopen because we don't feel like the consistency is there. And this isn't a turnkey operation, by the way. You got to have the staff, you got to get them trained, you got to keep going. We just don't turn a key and we're back in business. So we're not going to go back into business. And so some of those facilities have remained closed. Before
we let you go, I have in studio with me my guests are from Source Solar, and I'm curious about renewable energy. I'm guessing that there isn't any incentive in Indiana to do much as far as renewable energy. Peter Sarelas is the founder of Source Solar. Is there any I know that you guys have wind farms, but how is renewable energy doing in Indiana?
Oh, not as well as it should be doing, to tell you the truth. I mean, it's something that I think we've really missed out on. We have a state that wants to continue to rely on coal, and that's really not the way, frankly, the industry is going. That's not what they want to do. They want to do more with renewables than what we've been able to, I think, as a state, been able to provide any types of incentives, those sorts of things. So we're falling behind in that field, and it's frankly, a real missed opportunity, especially with the rising prices that we've seen with electric and gas. And we're going to try to work to change that, but it's definitely something where we have missed the boat big time, and we're falling behind.
Well, I appreciate you updating us, and I want to let folks to get involved. I know we have listeners in Indiana. There's IndianaHouseDemocrats.org to learn more about the work that they're doing, and get involved in your local races because there are seats that are to be won to break that supermajority that the Republicans have, so we can have a path forward. As neighbors, we want you to do better. Do you have any organizations that you would recommend for folks to contact?
Yeah, I mean, look, we've got candidates, as I mentioned, working all over the state, including in Lake and Porter County. So you can certainly reach out to your the local county headquarters there in those two counties specifically. There's other candidates that are working very hard all over the state. So we're just really excited about it, and we're just going to keep our fingers crossed that it's a good year for Democrats, and we believe it will be.
Same. We're all crossing our fingers. We'll cross all the things.
Awesome.
Thank you, sir. We've been talking to Indiana House Minority Leader Phil had before GiaQuinta, correct?
Perfect. Yeah, you got it.
It's a good Italian name. What do we got?
Yeah, GiaQuinta is perfect. If you say it like 3 times, you know what? It looks scary on paper, but it's actually really easy. It's really easy to say.
It is. And I appreciate your patience and your graciousness with that and all the work that you do. Let us know how we can help, my friend.
Perfect.
Hey, Patty, you mind if I chime in really quick before
absolutely.
we let him go? Yeah, so Representative Phil, nice to meet you.
I'll give you the camera. Hold on a second. Go ahead. You keep talking. I'll give you the camera.
All right. My name is Pete. I'm the owner of Source Solar. Been in the solar industry for almost 13 years now. And a recommendation that I have for you and your state is people take the path of least resistance, or like water. You know, if you put a boulder in the middle of a stream, it's going to go around the boulder. Where I'm getting at with this is you have to start from the stem. So if Indiana passed some sort of renewable portfolio standard that required utilities to get a percentage of their power from solar, then they would then pass some sort of incentive such as a net metering, where that's no money out of their pocket, but for every kilowatt hour that's produced and put back onto the grid, they then receive that kilowatt hour credit to put on their renewable portfolio standard. And that would, just that alone would influence, thousands of people to go solar without having to do any sort of monetary incentive from the state or from the utilities, just creating a renewable portfolio standard saying Indiana wants to be, 50% renewable by the year 2050. And if not, the state is going to fine those who are distributing the power, which is the power companies. So that's what we did in Illinois. And after we did that, the state's utilities, the two largest, ComEd and Ameren, became very green overnight.
Interesting. There you go. I hope that I can connect you guys if you want. Thank you.
I think that's a great idea, Patty.
I think so too.
You guys need to talk.
Thank you, Leader Phil, and we look forward to connecting with you again. And I can exchange emails. I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. Perfect. Go get them. We're here for whatever you need. Bye. More after this on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, KKNW 1150. Thank you, everyone who's tuning in.
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez.
From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing ass says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We continue our drive home here on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, KKNW 1150 in Seattle, KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul. Hello to all of our friends tuning in on Facebook, YouTube, and now Minocqua Brewing Company on Substack. When you call in today with your questions about solar energy, you will talk to Lady B. Bedalia is answering the phone. We might talk about some other things, but I am taking your questions for our guests, our friends from Source Solar, Warren Preis, the host of Hawk Takes the Wheel, Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. And Peter Sarelas, the founder, the mastermind behind Source Solar. We've been talking about the concept, the issues, the questions that you have for almost a year now. And it's always a great conversation. So you can text or call 773-763-9278. And if you are listening in the future or somewhere else where you can't get in right now, P. Vasquez at heartlandsignal.com. But your best bet is to go to source.solar.
Yeah, Patty, we actually had a couple of your listeners come in today to our office. Yeah, they stopped by. Joe and I want to say Lil. I'm sorry. I know that they're listening
Lil
right
is
now.
in Mexico.
Not your Lil.
Oh, okay.
But Joe and his wife came by. They live in beautiful Norwood Park.
Hey, those are my neighbors.
Yeah, and they walked over because they had some questions on their system. They weren't sure if their system was producing as it should, and wondering if they should get the system cleaned. I recommended not cleaning the system. It has been a few years since they've had it installed, so the modules do degrade over time. But then also, if your system isn't working, to the level that it was last year, or 1% less or 0.5% less of what it should be on paper, it's just because we've had a pretty hazy year and a cloudy year. And I'm not saying the last week because that's not going to ruin your production.
That was crazy.
Yeah. I mean,
it isn't gone.
It's not gone yet.
I know, but this has been nuts. My eyes hurt.
Yeah. And I've had a sore throat, so if I'm talking with a different voice, that's why.
That ear has been killing
It was
me.
bad. It was so bad.
Yeah, but this year in solar, it's been a cloudier year. And if you look at, if anyone has a production guarantee on their contract and they've already gone solar, the true-up period is typically 2 years. Where every 2 years, that's when you would true up your system, because if we have a cloudy year, the next year is going to be more of a sunny year. Last year, systems were producing way more than they have in the past. So if you had a very sunny year last year, and then this year is a cloudy year, that could skew your numbers to think that your system isn't working properly.
Right.
But annually, and then, over the course of 2 years or 4 years, you'll be able to see that it's working just fine.
Well, I love that my neighbors in Norwood Park, which is where I grew up, by the way. And I actually was in Norwood Park today. I went to Norwood Park Senior Center thrift store. There's a thrift store right over by there on West Circle, Norwood Circle. And Lisa is a listener of the show. She was behind the counter, one of the volunteers.
She works at the
she
center.
It's so funny because I grew up like blocks from some of the people that volunteer there. There's one woman who literally lived about 200 yards from where I grew up, and we never met. When I was a kid. She's a teacher. Yeah. Norwood Park Thrift. Yeah, it is, you guys.
It's like next to the coffee shop?
Yeah, right around the corner from October Cafe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's October Cafe, which used to be the optometrist in my neighborhood.
Yep.
And I knew the guy that lived upstairs. So you go back around the corner down that strip where there used to be the reel and rod store, like the fishing store just closed on the corner there. And then it's Do or Die, where I get my hair cut, where Annabelle Laval says I have the best bangs in the city, and that's because Karen at Do or Die. I think I just live on that block. I grew up on the other side of the tracks at 6133 Northwest Highway. Where Edward Fox Studios is now. I grew up on the second floor there. So I would have loved, for folks who don't know, if you are familiar at all with Norwood Park, it's right by the beautiful train station, the old-fashioned train station. Norwood Park School is right over by there, kitty corner from all the strip of stores. But the Norwood Park thrift store is fantastic. Like I bought a couple of short sleeve men Oxford shirts, kind of like the Madras shirts, remember those? Madras, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
so I got a couple of those.
They're very in little squares and rectangles and colors everywhere.
Yeah,
a lot of yellow, blue, and
yes, I got one of those. I love it. Yeah, got it for
Madras shirts, Nick shirts, Sicily jeans.
This place is great. They sometimes have I get some designer stuff there.
We're talking 1970s kids.
I've gotten some Cole Haan shoes from there. I shouldn't tell everybody to go to my thrift store, but that's my thrift store. No, it's good. So this is it kind of ties in, right? Because we're talking about renewable energy. I'm talking about doing better for the planet, and thrift store shopping, I think, is one of the best. Like fast fashion, it's recycle, renew, reuse, all the things. They're actually being overwhelmed in thrift stores across the country because boomers are cleaning out their houses. So there is a massive amount of clothing and furniture. Right now is a really good time to buy things secondhand, is all I'm saying. Good furniture, good glassware, all the things. But that's not what we're here to talk about. So neighbors, so you said neighbors from Norwood Park stop by Source Solar because you are on Northwest Highway.
Yeah, we are. A couple blocks away. I think they told us that they walked over because it was only a couple block walk.
Couple 2-3 blocks.
Yeah, 2-3 blocks. And just gave them some insight. And what I told them, and what we tell everybody, is a lot of solar companies have gone out of business over the last few years. And if you are a customer who is we call it a stranded customer. It could be from anything of company installed my system, we paid them, and they went out of business, and we never got our system turned on, which is a large problem.
Really?
Yeah, that happens. I mean, if you're a company that goes bankrupt and you're mid-construction, are you going to finish the job?
No, I guess not.
Yep.
What recourse do people have? Finding people like you, I guess.
Yeah, just reach out to us. We typically take on a couple projects like this a week where there's some sort of issue. It could be a project that we're going to tomorrow up on Jarvis in Rogers Park. Yep. And thank you.
You're welcome.
Yep, up on Jarvis and Western, where we're going there, and it's an old Solar Edge system. Their company went out of business, which is funny. It's actually the same company that both of these people had.
No way.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Now that I think about it, and his system hasn't been working properly for the last couple months, and we're going out there to help fix it. So if you have gone solar already, and you're looking for someone to help service your equipment, please reach out to us. If you are redoing your roof and you don't have a solar contractor to remove the system and reattach it, reach out to us. If you need someone helping, talk to your insurance adjuster because they didn't adequately pay out on the detach and reset, reach out to us. We're here to help. We've run into this.
So you're saying if there's hailstorms,
windstorm,
weather issues, installation of roofs, don't you have a little bit to do with doing roofs also?
Yeah, we also redo roofs. If you wanted us to do the full scope of the project, which is remove the modules, redo your roof, and then reattach the modules. We've only had over 300 tornadoes in the state of Illinois this year.
We lead the nation, by the way. We lead the nation.
I heard that.
Lead the nation, yeah.
By like 50x right now.
Yeah,
it's like
plenty,
an insane amount.
But we don't get them in Chicago. They just call them.
It's not a matter of, as Tom Skilling.
Sunburst or cloud bursts or who knows what they call them.
Tom Skilling says it's not a matter of if, but when. Just so you know.
Okay.
And if I trust anybody, it's Tom Skilling.
I know Tom.
Don't tall buildings have something to do with?
There's something, but there's, yes. My husband will be texting me in a moment because he was awake all night one time because Skilling had the special. It was like disaster out of the darkness. It was like, you remember he would do those specials?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like, something off the lake, like something. Yeah. Did you know that we had an earthquake recently under Lake Michigan?
What?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we had a minor earthquake.
You know who told me? Lily.
Really?
Mexico.
From Mexico?
When was that?
She's tracking all the earthquakes.
She's tracking earthquakes.
A couple weeks ago, we had an earthquake.
We had an earthquake.
And by the way,
small
folks,
tremor was 4 point something.
Still, I mean, four is enough.
high.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it was pretty.
There were a lot of people online worrying about. So while we can't have a tsunami, we can't have a seiche.
We did have a tsunami seiche, whatever you want to call it,
in the
some
50s.
years ago.
Yeah.
No, not in the 50s. On Lakeshore Drive, I'll bet you had to be in the 70s or early 80s, where the lake just went whoosh, and it scooped up, and the Lakeshore Drive.
The water pulls back just like a tsunami, and
Right.
then just comes and floods back up
backwards.
over.
Yeah,
I've heard stories because I was a lifeguard at North Avenue. There's stories about that happening in the 50s.
It went across Lakeshore Drive into all the Lakeshore Drive parking lots underground, and it was pretty nasty. I have to tell you my favorite Lake Michigan story. That's so stupid. Nobody got hurt, but people thought they did. Do you remember? It was like the day before Halloween a few years ago. I want to say it was like 2014 or so. There was a storm that was bringing water up onto Lakeshore Drive, like in parts of even where the S curve, the Oak Street and all that. Well, there was a guy who had a haunted house attached. It was a barge attached to Navy Pier, and it was like a zombie. It was all animatronic zombies and stuff. It was great. I was there like the night before this all happened. They even dressed us up as like actors in the haunted house, right? The storm destroys the barge, capsizes it, right? So everything gets thrown off the boat, and for weeks and months, for weeks and months. There were, it's very upsetting for Warren. I got your mic off. You're okay. For weeks and months, you can look this up while we're on break. Google Coast Guard retrieves. They started using it as training practice for the Coast Guard because people were reporting bodies in the lake, and it was just the zombies just popping up in the middle of Lake Michigan. It was wild. I felt bad for the guy who ran it. He was a really sweet guy he lost a lot of money on that, but it was wild. That's one of my favorite things that's ever happened to Lake Michigan.
Yeah, out of the usual things that usually wash up. Yeah, I think that
was amazing.
Yeah, that's a good one.
You just see these bodies bobbing up and down in the water. We're in studio with sponsor of Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez. I hope Warren's okay. I couldn't help him when someone starts it's just like there's nothing I can do. I'm behind the mic. I got a show to do. So stay hydrated, everybody. Peter Sarelas joins me in the studio, the founder of Source Solar. Go to source.solar to learn more and call and text us. If you have questions or comments about solar energy, even if it's something about questions about what's going on nationally, federally, globally, like where are they doing solar right? What can we learn from other places and how to get it done for you? 773-763-9278. That's 773-763-9278. More in a moment on Driving Home with Patti Vasquez on WCPT, KKNW, KTNF, and hi to everybody watching on YouTube, Facebook, and Heartland and Substack with Monaco Brewing Company, and also go to heartlandsignal.com. Thank you.
Because facts matter. You are listening to WCPT 820.
Here's great news for those Chicagoans heading up to southern Wisconsin. Should you ever forget to load up on progressive brews from the local favorites like Rogers Park Provisions or Park West Liquor in Lincoln Park, Monaco Brewing Company beer is now conveniently available at Dream Liquor and Cigar in Kenosha and in the Lake Geneva area at Delavan Liquor and Smoke in Delavan. If the great town of Madison, Wisconsin is your jam, please remember to swing into the Monaco Brewing Company tap room at 2927 East Washington Avenue to grab some Resistance beer, pizza, t-shirts, and progressive camaraderie.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us. We continue our conversation here at WCPT 820, KKNW 1150, KTNF AM 950, Minneapolis, Seattle. Thank you for joining us and our friends tuning in. I know we actually have listeners all the way down for Maryland. We've got friends in Michigan. People are tuning in all over the country and all over the world. Do you remember when I was at WGN and we had a listener? Were you ever there when David would call in from Italy? I had a listener who was learning English from listening to my show, which I felt so bad about because I talk so quickly. And but he was so sweet. David would call us. It would be like 9 a.m. for him on his way to work. He would tune in because he was trying to learn English. The sweetest guy.
We got a call from Seattle the other day.
That's right. We did get we get calls from Seattle, Maryland. We get calls from Vegas.
Because you're the largest liberal talk radio station
in the country. In the country. We're growing, folks. And that's through the support of our sponsors. That's why I invite you to reach out to all of our sponsors. You can find everybody listed on WCPT's page on heartlandsignal.com, where you'll also find information about Source Solar. But they're in studio, so you don't have to look anywhere but here while you're tuning in.
Call in.
And if you're listening to the podcast, you can also reach out to source.solar and email Peter through there, or email me, P. Vasquez at heartlandsignal.com. I know, folks, the incentives might have expired, but you were able to collaborate with a program in the state of Illinois for financing Solar for All.
Yeah, so Illinois Solar for All is still available. And what I've been telling everybody is if you are a residential customer, you've got maybe a year left for us to be able to install and get your system installed with incentives. And don't be like my Republican uncle from Florida, which you know, who decided to contact.
Al?
Yeah.
Hey, Al.
Al contacts me November 1st last year saying, yeah, I heard Trump cut all these tax credits for solar. I think it's time for me to get solar put on my house.
Okay.
I'm like, you're expecting me to fly down to Florida and install a system for you? Like, get out of here, dude. It's not going to happen. So it does take, 4 to 6 months to get a system installed. And that's not because we're sitting here twiddling our thumbs. It's because we live in the state of Illinois, where they have 696 different jurisdictions that all have different permitting offices and permitting requirements. Permitting can take anywhere from as fast as the quickest permitting office in the state of Illinois, which is Chicago, Illinois, surprisingly, which gets a permit turned around in 24 hours, to some areas like Aurora, which takes up to 2 months, sometimes 3 months.
What a waste. What a waste.
On the flip side of that, the city of Chicago takes 2 to 3 months to get an inspection. So
too many people.
Yep. And they have 30 electrical inspectors, and they're booked with 10 inspections throughout the day, every single day. So what I'm getting at is, do not wait. If you do want to go solar for your home, the best time to have done that would have been 2 years ago. Last year would have been the second best, and this is going to be the third best. And next year, it's going to keep going down.
The fourth best. I know how this is going. Wait, ooh. Hold on.
You got it. So we've already hit our peak. Solar material prices have already bottomed out, and they're on the rebound ever since 2024. And the incentives are now on the decline since 2025. So if you act now, it still makes economic sense. But we've already had homeowners that their neighbor got solar 2 years ago, and now they got a quote from us, and they said, well, this doesn't make sense. My neighbor was saving, let's say, $30,000 over the next 25 years. It only shows I'm saving $25,000. Why is that? And the reason is because you waited too long. And it is time, if you do want to go solar and not spend $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 to ComEd or Ameren, now is the time to contact us, and we'll get this done for you.
Business people, you should really take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Because if you've got an electric bill of, I'm going to say mildly $6,000. My bill when I had my business was $6,000 a month. Today, 3 years later, would probably be somewhere around $9,000. I'm going to say it would go up at least 50%. And that to save $20,000 a year would be great, just to cover maintenance costs on your property.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that's $20,000 that you can reinvest in your business. That's $20,000 that you can reinvest in your employees, in your property, or a situation where we met with a meat manufacturer last week, because not only do we do solar, we also do battery storage. And this is a very progressive or forward-thinking Greek who just opened a new manufacturing plant. I guess meat manufacturing? No, butcher. It's half butcher, half grocery store, distributor. There we go. And he has solar at 2 different locations. One of them down south of, in their actual butcher, south of the city, and then one over on the west side. And they have solar at both locations. Pre-solar, his electric bills were $360,000 a year. Post-solar, they're still coming out to around $150,000 a year. But what we're offering for him and everybody else is storage as a service, where we come out and we install a battery if you already have solar, free of charge, at no cost. These batteries do cost anywhere between $2.5 to $6.5 million, so it's not a small expense. We have the financiers to back them, and we do pay for performance. So whatever you save off of your ComEd bill, our fee is 50% of that. So you're guaranteed to get a 50% savings without anything out of pocket. If your savings increase, then we all just make more money.
Who doesn't want that?
Right?
I don't know. I mean, it baffles me that to have talked to so many businesses over the last couple of years with you, Peter, and seeing so many business owners that hesitate.
Yeah, and this is a new avenue that we're taking, where for some reason the stigma of solar is just stuck in some people's heads that are
the door-to-door guys didn't help anybody out.
The door-to-door guys didn't help, but then also our right-wing politics haven't helped out at all. Saying that that's trash that you put on your roof and don't do anything. Contractors who come in the game and install a system that might be faulty don't help. Similar to how the roofing industry has a bad rep, or other contractors might have a bad rep. Contractors are contractors. You just got to find the right one when doing a project. But numbers don't lie. So what we're doing now in our new avenue, because battery storage does have a further runway in terms of the tax credit. For some reason, Trump didn't cut the tax credit for batteries, just solar and wind. So with us having our runway for this, we are going after and proposing battery storage as a service to customers that already have solar. So businesses that you cut $100,000 a year by getting solar, that's great. The next step, let's get rid of that other $100,000, and depending on how big of a battery we get, we might even be able to get ComEd to pay you $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year. So you're turning your battery into a revenue-generating asset.
Excellent. Wow. Folks, 773-763-9278. We're in studio with our friends from Source Solar. Warren Preis, the host of Hawk Takes the Wheel Saturday mornings from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., where we take your questions and thoughts about cars. We always have a great conversation. It always turns to vintage cars and what were your favorite cars growing up. And that
last Saturday it was the Midget and the Spitfire.
That's right. We're going to start doing some trivia on your show, too.
So. We're going to have to figure out a lot of things.
Exactly. Peter Sarelas, the founder of Source Solar. Go to source.solar. And we've got questions coming in right now. We got a question coming in from a listener, so we'll get that when we come back from the break. Peter Sarelas is here to take your questions and thoughts about solar. I'm sorry, they said I sing your song, Patti Vasquez. Patti Vasquez.
Sarelas Source Solar.
Source Solar.
Yeah.
From Source Solar joins me in studio and taking all your questions. More in a moment on WCPT, KKNW, KTNF, Facebook, YouTube, Substack with Monaco Brewing Company, and our podcast available at Heartland Signal.
Hey, Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Hey, folks, just want to make sure you know that Heartland Signal has a free newsletter every week. Heartland Signal's head of research, Aaron Kleiman, delivers Radio Free America, highlighting stories that matter in state politics but aren't getting enough attention. Subscribe today at heartlandsignal.com. You can also visit my show page, Driving It Home, to get the rundown on what guests are joining me on the show, listen on demand to recent interviews and full episodes of the show, find subscribe links to my full episodes and featured interview podcasts, and you can see a gallery of our guests over the years at heartlandsignal.com/Patti with an I. Joining me in the studio are the guests that you would have seen on my Facebook page as the guests coming in. My friends Warren Preis and Peter Sarelas from Source Solar. Warren hosts Hawk Takes the Wheel Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. Mm-hmm. Peter Sarelas is staying very well hydrated. Hold on a second. Cheers. Also got my... You can see my ice cubes. Cheers. Peter Sarelas, the founder, the mastermind behind Source Solar. Go to source.solar to make an appointment with Peter and have all your questions answered. We were talking a little bit about batteries earlier. We'll get Peter, back to that as well.
I'm curious, not curious, just fill me in more on how we could take a company that just has a small, like we were talking $6,000 a month bill and put very few panels on their roof and then put a battery, if they have the space for it, to save them a huge amount of money.
Yeah. So what we're doing now is a smaller solar system paired with larger batteries. For some reason, the stigma of solar won't work for my business. My friends, uncles, moms, sister's daughter told me that they got solar on their house and it doesn't work how they expected. Everyone knows somebody through somebody, but they can't really point out who the person is that has had a poor experience with solar. So what we've shifted to is small solar, large battery, where we do have solar to partially charge these batteries. But what the battery is really doing is called the grid arbitrage. And if you know what an arbitrage is, we are charging the battery when we know the grid is low and then discharging it when the grid is high. This happens every single day. This is not something that's, is this maybe going to happen? We literally get triggers from ComEd's grid, which is PJM GATS, that say, now is the time that you charge the battery. Now is the time that you discharge the battery. They were the ones telling us to do it. We do that, and the property owners are the ones who benefit. So if we have someone who, let's say, is paying $50,000 a year, or even smaller, we have a client that just signed on right before 4th of July, that fire sale where everyone tried signing on the last week because I've been yelling at him for the last 2 years to get in gear. His bill was $20,000 a year. Through our battery, we're now going to make it negative $30,000 a year. And we split that revenue. That's how it works. So we go out there, we install everything at no cost to them. But the caveat is we split the revenue that comes in. So that customer is going to pay us about $15,000 a year after ComEd is paying him $30,000. So he just took a $20,000 expense and turned it into a $15,000 net gain for himself.
So that's around a $35,000 flip-flop.
$35,000.
And that's annual for the rest of their lives.
Well, that's annual.
It'll also increase.
Correct.
It'll also increase, yeah.
That's my numbers based off of last year. This year, it already was estimated to be about $42,000.
Just that's another 20% on top of what he's already getting back.
Yep.
I have a listener from the 847. It's Vivi from Hampshire, Illinois. I hope I'm saying your name right.
I'll be there tomorrow.
I recently put a generator on my house, and I'm wondering, would solar be a good backup? Do I need it? I'm just wondering, because he said I have a year left for the install. I love listening to your show. Well, thank you. I love having you listen. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So would that be a good backup for the...
Yeah, so the way you have to think of solar as not as a backup. It can be if that's what your main concern is, but it's more so replacing the power that you're already using. Right now, you're going to a gas station for your electricity and you're spending, let's say $4 a gallon. That can go up at any time. It might go up to $5 a gallon next year. What we're doing is giving you an alternative fuel source for a fraction of that price. So we're pretty much saying you're going to lock in your prices today. We know you're paying $4 a gallon. Solar might cost you, $3.50, so 20% less. And you're going to pay this same price for the next 15, 20, or 25 years. It's never going to increase, as you see every other gas station increase over time. If you do want it for backup, yes, what we would do is when we install our Tesla Powerwall 3, we would install what's called a gateway. And in that gateway, it acts as the brain for the whole system. So currently what you have set up, if you have a generator, is you have your electric panel, you have an automated transfer switch, and then you have your, you have your electric meter, your automated transfer switch, and then your electric panel. So your meter used to go from meter to panel. Now it goes from meter to ATS, automated transfer switch, to your panel. What we're going to be doing is removing that ATS and then putting in our gateway, so our Tesla gateway. From there, that acts as if the grid goes down, then your system will turn on. It will discharge all of the battery power as solar is still charging it. And then once you get below a threshold, about 20% less left of the battery will shut off and it would automatically turn your generator on.
Okay.
So if you're sitting here and you want to prepare for the apocalypse or a cyber attack on the grid, or look at our storms, if a tornado comes by and wipes something out in your area, if you have overhead wires, like what my Aunt Kathy just had 2 weeks ago, she was out of power for 2-3 days.
Oh my God.
This is a great way for you to be resilient to grid outages.
Yeah, I was worried about, we woke up the other day, Thursday morning, the first day of the worst air quality. And our air conditioner was out.
Oh,
yeah, so I thought the power was out. We woke up and I was like, so it was a blade. What a fluke. And I will say this, Apt Electronics, our friends over at Apt did a great job. They came over.
Yep.
We were just talking about it during break.
Electronics, yeah.
And one thing I'd like to point out is these large batteries that we're talking about, there's only 20 of them on the ComEd grid. Apt has 3.
What?
Yep. At their main location. They
have a recycling center that they've designed that creates a profit center for them by recycling materials that they use to sell all of their products.
Wow. Yep. And it saves them not 1, but 2 commas a year.
What?
2 commas? You understand that,
yes,
public,
I do.
what 2 commas are?
2 commas, $1 million. That's at least $1 million.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm saying the first comma is after the one.
In generated
and there's 3
power.
zeros and there's another comma. Wow. That is wild. Yeah, they're fantastic. They came out.
Well, wait, that's what they're saving, but they're also making.
Right.
Because of
both.
It's a combo.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, a little shout out for Apt Electronics.
Yeah.
Just saying. Thank you very much.
That was free advertising.
That was free. That's what we call that.
We love it.
For folks, there's so let's go through it. So let's say somebody calls and they want to make an appointment with you. And I know you mentioned that it could take 2 months. It could take as much as 6 months.
The appointment won't?
Not the appointment. From the appointment, making the decision to get this. What's the process for like?
Yeah. So this is funny. I brought this up to my one of my sales execs today when talking to business owners. If someone called me and just told me that, hey, you're going to save a bunch of money, all I'm going to need is your bill. In my head, I'm thinking, okay, this is going to drag on forever. I have a lot of tasks in front of me. This is not something that I'm going to allocate time for. That's not how this works. We're going to set up a call with you for, a 5-minute introduction call. In that call, we're going to look at your roof from Google Earth to see if it makes economic sense for you to go solar. Do you have enough sun exposure? Is there enough irradiance on your roof for you to go solar? Do you have a big oak tree in front of your house where it's not going to make sense?
So you mean people have to qualify to get this?
Exactly. So we're going to pre-qualify you right there on the phone. From there, we're going to request a copy of your electric bill, and our engineers are going to put together a design for you. You'll then have another call with one of our sales reps. They will go over and consult you on your energy usage and what we can do to supplement that. After that, you give us the go-ahead. We're going to come out to the home, take a couple quick photos. It's about 20 or 30 photos or so. From there, we're going to put together our engineering drawings. This is with you doing nothing, by the way. We get our design together within a week. Once we have that, we're going to submit it with the permits and then submit to ComEd. We get an approval from ComEd in about 2 weeks when it's residential. Commercial can take up to 9 months. But for residential, it takes about 2 weeks. And then we can come out there and install as soon as we get a permit. Once we have the permit, the installation takes a day, 2 days max. After we have that install done, we call in for the inspection. And once we have an inspection, we can flip the switch.
And then for, let's say, the house itself, like you take into account the roof age, the direction shade, all the other things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we come out there, we look at your shingle age. We're not going to install on a home that's got a roof that's over, 15 years old or so. It's a very rare occurrence where I've seen a roof that's 16, 17 years that we'd still install on it, because they had a huge tree in front of their house that was giving them shade, which recently came down. So their roof was like new because it wasn't beat up from the sun. But typically, that sub 15 years, if you think that you're on the cusp there, you just let us know and we'll come out there and do a site survey for you.
All right.
But don't solar panels also help prevent wear and tear on your roof from the elements in the sun?
There you go.
You got it. Yeah. So sunlight is the number one cause of roof deterioration. It's not snow. It's not ice. It's not water. It is sunlight. That's why if you're looking at a home that has a north and south face roof, the south side looks all...
South side?
Yep.
Sorry, couldn't help it.
South side's all beat up. Shingles are falling off, just like my neighbor right next door, who will not get a new roof for some reason. And then the north side is typically completely fine.
I'm about to share some information from a listener who would like you to reach out, and I've got that sent to you right now. Let's take a break here. We'll continue our conversation with Warren Preis. Hawk Takes the Wheel Saturday mornings from 9 to 10 a.m. Peter Sarelas, the founder of Source Solar. Go to source.solar, make an appointment, as apparently a listener would like you to reach out and do as well. More in a moment. WCPT, KKNW, KTNF. Also, hello on Facebook, on YouTube, and Monaco Brewing Company Substack, and our future listeners on heartlandsignal.com's website for podcasts. And we want to thank our friends who are tuning in everywhere. The number is 773-763-9278. That's 773-763-9278. More in a moment when we come back.
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
As is taking your calls now.
All right, let's hit it.
At 773-763-9278.
I got a lot to say.
It's Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue our conversation with sponsors of Driving It Home, Patti Vasquez, our friends from Source Solar. Warren Preis hosts Hawk Takes the Wheel Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. Goes till 10. We take your comments, your thoughts, your musings on the phone or by text, and we always have a great conversation. And we have in studio with us the founder, the CEO, the guy you'll most likely talk to at some point when you reach out for your solar panels on your house or business, Peter Sarelas. And he now has partnered with an Illinois program called Solar for All to help you with the financing, and he'll walk you through all of that. Our phone lines are open, 773-763-9278. That's 773-763-9278. We have a little bit more time for phone calls and texts. And Vivi, that is me. I do read the texts, and I appreciate your comments. Thank you very much. It's good to hear from you. And Paul from Seattle's on the line. Hey, Paul, you're on the line. What's on your mind?
Yeah, hi. Patty, I wanted to ask, I think I've heard guys mention before that in really hot places like Arizona, solar doesn't work quite as well. There's some kind of impedance to, what's that all about?
So, two things here. One, you are going to get a much better yield from Arizona than you are from Illinois, just because of how many more sun hours they have. But two things are in the way. One is the legislation in states like Arizona and Nevada, which have pushed solar out. You can still go solar. It does make economic sense, but they've just put a lot of hoops up and even taxes in some areas. I think what you were referring to was thermal loss, which I've even noticed on my system. Yep. So I had a system which was GAF, the roofing manufacturer, and they have a a flashing kit that goes around the system, so it makes it look like it's built right into your roof, just like a Velux skylight. Really good, easy on the eyes. But when you're trapping all of that heat, you're going to have that thermal loss. And when I put my second part of my system up, I did it without that. And it's a night and day comparison. It's like a 15% difference. So, yes. Heat is bad for solar. Sunlight is good. So when we're getting those, 90-something degree days, your system is going to operate a little bit less efficiently than it would in March when it's 40 degrees and you're getting that same amount of sunlight.
So if you're in Arizona and it's 110 degrees outside, it's really dropping.
Not significantly, and it just depends on how you do the install. So if you have an install that's really close to the roof and you're trapping that heat between the modules and the roof, then yes, you're going to have loss.
It needs to breathe.
Yep, as long as you can have it breathe, it's a few inches off that roof, 6 or so.
Floating a little bit.
Yep, and the air gets underneath there, your system's just fine.
Okay.
All right.
Well, it seems like you could, in Arizona or any place in the Southwest, there are other ways, there are other things you could do with that heat. I don't know why you even need a water heater. And you could, I think in the Middle East, they use like giant plastic water containers. They just put them outside. It heats the water. And then all you need is a pump to bring it inside. I mean, I don't know why you need to heat water probably even year round in Arizona. If you had a black, a plastic reservoir, on your south side of your house.
Solar water heat. That's like the original solar that we used to see back that Jimmy Carter put up. That's solar water heat, where they had all the pipes running through each solar panel, and then that's what heats.
Wow.
That's what heats your water up.
What a great idea!
I mean, you could just run it like a the old where you got my grandmother. It was gas heated, but the water pipes, you heated her house by all these pipes running through the house that were heating the house. If you had a big solar, black plastic structure or whatever those things are that you could store lots of water in, and it heats up by the sun, and then you just bring it in and a small pump that would run it with piping through the house. You can heat your house in the wintertime. You don't need that much heat in Arizona in the winter, just like here in Seattle. Even I don't turn my heat on very much.
Yeah, it's almost like geothermal, how geothermal works, but you can do that with a solar water heat. And if you're starting your boiler off now, instead of the water being, I don't know, let's say it's 55 or 65 degrees, what it is in Arizona, now you're starting that off at 70, 80 degrees. And, you only have to up it to, 120, 130 to start heating up that house. It's a much easier, much easier to heat. Yep.
Yeah, I just think we could be doing a lot better in this country if it weren't. I mean, the fossil fuels not only do they have us addicted, they have, in terms of there being fewer alternatives.
Kind of about the money.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's about the money.
They're paying off the legislators to make it harder to be efficient. So that's, which is,
Exactly. Thanks, Paul.
Okay, thanks.
Have a good one.
They say we're the richest country in the world. How rich could we be if we actually started to watch our little pennies?
I was thinking about this the other day because I was watching I was watching a video about healthcare in Switzerland, and they have you can buy private health insurance. They don't have like single payer. They don't have universal health care. But everyone has to have health insurance. But what they do is they have regulations and like what the cost of things are. Like it has to be transparent, and they can't be sort of be these exorbitant prices. They have the same system we do, but with regulations, and everyone's doing well. I mean, it's just. But
there's a good balance.
But I think that so many of us, have been sort of led to believe that we're the greatest country in the world, and part of that lends itself to we couldn't possibly be doing anything wrong. They can't be. You know what I'm saying?
Really?
There's sort of this veil of blind that makes us blind to what was right in front of us for decades. At any rate, including the fossil fuel industry. I mean, I didn't even realize that Roger Rabbit laid it all out for us right in front of us about how they were destroying public transportation in order to have automobiles take over. I just feel silly. Just saying. And I also was not paying attention, is all I'm saying. Have your guests heard of the solar panels that look like shingles?
Yep, those are solar shingles. Similar to what I just went over. When your solar is attached to your roof without anywhere to breathe, it is going to lose its efficiency. If you want to do solar shingles with GAF makes one, they have a nailable. So it's literally looks like a bunch of shingles that you nail down and you plug them in. Do you have Tesla, which is the solar tiles? You're going to spend so much money on them. I was at a house up in Northbrook a couple weeks ago, and this guy's neighbor got solar shingles from Tesla, and it was $260,000 for the roof. So the cost
that was for the material for the solar
Tesla
material.
Solar shingles. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. If you look at a house and you have normal shingles versus a Spanish tile roof, your Spanish tile roof might be $70,000 compared to your normal roof, which might be 15 or 20.
It only cost $12 for my roof to be fixed.
When was that?
6 years ago.
It's 18 now.
No, I got it 6 years ago.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So, 15 to 20K is about the average for a re-roof now. Yes, we can do solar shingles, but I will show you a much better option where, you're not compromising any looks and you're getting a much more efficient system for a fraction of the cost.
Gotcha. It's Peter Sarelas, go to source.solar. Are you traveling more this summer? Are you staying close by?
Yeah, I'm going to Boston for a friend's wedding.
Love Boston.
Shout out to Kevin, Ichi, and Michelle. They're
Nice.
getting married on August 13th, I'm going to say. It's a Saturday. So we're going out there for their wedding. I'm supposed to go to the Boundary Waters in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Boundary Waters in Minnesota.
There are no boundaries there.
But they are on fire right now.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's where all the smoke's coming from.
Holy cow.
So I'm supposed to be going there. Let's go on a camping trip with the boys. We're going to go on canoeing 20-something miles over a few days. And Palm Springs in October.
Wow.
But that's all
Nice
I've got
traveling.
for the next 4 months.
Excellent. I might be going to Montreal and Quebec. We're planning a trip, and you were going to
Niagara Falls.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was thinking about taking I think I'm going to go to Iowa. I know you're excited.
Iowa.
Iowa.
So I'm excited about both because my girlfriend Kira grew up in Montreal.
Oh, nice.
So if you need any recommendations,
I do.
More than happy to give it.
Fantastic.
Have you been there?
I've never been to Montreal or Quebec. City.
I went in October. We went for Halloween, and it was so much fun because it had a big city feel like New York, but it had a Western Europe feel as well.
Yeah.
So cool. It was so old and had so much history. Where are you going to go in Iowa?
Going to go to Mason City for the Wingding at the Surf Ballroom. Are you familiar with the Surf Ballroom?
Nope, but if you go to Mason City, you got to go to the Greek Steakhouse there.
Okay.
It is amazing.
All right, then. Every city, he knows where the Greek restaurants
I could
are.
not believe Mason City is 3 hours north of Iowa City.
Yes.
It's like right by the border of Minnesota. I've got, probably 24 projects up there. And I was up there with my brother who flew in from Montana at the time. And we were taking drone shots of all of our projects. And we go up there and we look for a spot to eat. And there's a Greek steakhouse there that we went to. And I think it was like $25 for a 12-ounce ribeye and a salad and a side. And it came with a drink. And it was amazing.
Nice.
So you got to go to the Greek steakhouse there. I have a hoodie of it.
That's
home in my
so
closet.
funny. I love that.
Let her take it with.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, thank you, Lady B. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. We'll be back tomorrow. I'm excited to have some great guests. We'll have a good conversation, as always. Take care, everyone. Warren Preis, Peter Sarelas,
Source.Solar.
Hawk Takes the Wheel, Saturday mornings at 9.
Drive home safely.